Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Attack2 here, and for today's video, Happy New Year to all my fans out there, and especially a good 2022 to all. This year of all things gaming and media will definitely be an extremely amazing time. I mean, I wouldn't say amazing, I would definitely say a great year for all of us. And to start this off, for now, while we're waiting for a lot of big announcements from Game-Ins, from Nintendo, and many different video games and all, I want to be talking about Sora in Smash Ultimate. Yes, I know, Ultimate ended a few months ago, and especially Sora being in Smash, it feels very unreal to see this character fighting alongside Steve from Minecraft and Sephiroth, along with Mario and Sonic. It just feels unreal. But for a few months now, there is still a bit of negativity on Sora. Yes, even though it's been a few months since Ultimate's conclusion, many are still a bit salty on Sora from Kingdom Hearts joining as the final DLC character. Now, it's not to say that they aren't wrong. Yes, everyone has their own opinions. If you do not like Sora or any of the characters in the second Fighters Pass or any of the DLC lineup, then that's completely fine by me. We are all entitled to our own opinions. However, there are some points that many have been saying that Sora's inclusion felt like a waste, and no one really knows who Sora is, meaning that this character, I don't like this character because no one knows who this character is, and he wasn't that much of a popular character, and why was this character included? Yeah, those kinds of comments. So, in this video, I just want to be explaining the reasons on why exactly Sora's inclusion was very important to not just Smash Brothers, but also to Nintendo and Sakurai. And yeah, I know. I mean, I know there's been some that stated that the reason why Sora's inclusion was already in because of him being the most requested Smash character. That's one of the reasons, but things can be a bit more deeper than just him being the most popular and requested Smash Ultimate character and all. So, let's just kind of start things off with the fact that, yeah, we can all agree that Sora, as Sakurai stated, that this was one of the most, if not the biggest requested character back in the Smash 4 days when the ballot was still in hand. He was right above Banjo-Kazooie and Bayonetta and two unknown characters that was part of the top five picks for the West specifically. Now, the one thing that possibly makes this character's inclusion way more important than ever is that not only was this the character that ended up Ultimate, and especially obviously the most requested, this was not just a requested character and inclusion to Smash Brothers. This was an achievement to Sakurai and Nintendo, because we gotta remember, Sora himself is a Disney character, and technically co-owned by Square Enix, since Square Enix were the ones that developed Kingdom Hearts, but Disney is the ones who own the Kingdom Hearts character specifically. And yes, Kingdom Hearts is basically sort of like a mixture of Final Fantasy and Disney all together, with having an original character being the main protagonist to all of the franchise of Kingdom Hearts. And the one thing that really makes this amazing is that some really think that Disney is very stingy on what they can do. And yes, while that is true today, they aren't entirely stingy on this, because if not, why exactly would they let Sora be in Smash Brothers? I remember there was once an interview where the vice president of Disney Japan, who I think his name was Justin Scarpone, stated that they are completely fine with having Sora in Smash if Nintendo and Sakurai decide to approach him and will have permission with Tetsuya Nomura. And we all know how great friends Sakurai and Nomura it was after the inclusion of Cloud and all. And given how Nintendo decided to acknowledge this about, I think this tweet was back in a month right after the release of Sora. Yes, they definitely know how much of a big achievement it is. And to prove it even more, they even stated this on their second tweet about Sora, saying that the magic is still in the air. Have you been taking your opponents to the sky with Sora since the release of Challenger Pack 11? Stay sharp with all 11 Smash Ultimate DLC fighters with the Fighters Pass and the Fighters Pass Volume 2. And the fact that this entire mini video is all entirely on Sora, yeah, they are definitely aware how big of an achievement this whole character inclusion was, because Disney, as I've stated, is a bit problematic with their IPs, but Not entirely. That was one of the biggest gripes on why many think that. Most people, when Sora was announced, many think that Disney will buy out Nintendo and will definitely ruin the whole gaming industry. To me, I find that a bit blasphemy in my opinion. And it's not this, and look, you're not wrong. Yeah, that could possibly happen, but not entirely. The reason I say that is because that you would not have Nintendo right now if it wasn't for Disney. Because back in the 1950s, Nintendo was once a toy company, and when they were nearly bankrupt and kind of, almost went out of business, they decided to partner up with Disney and make a different variety of products that has Disney-related characters, like Mickey Mouse, Pinocchio, many different characters that is, from Disney. And since then, Nintendo has been staying alive to this very day. So you would not have Disney, you would not have Nintendo if it wasn't for Disney. And even to this day, and I'll let you know, this is not the first time Disney collaborated with Nintendo. Like, back in the 1980s, there were Disney games that were a part of the NES, and heck, some of the games are actually being ported to the Nintendo Switch right now, such as, as you can see right here, we got yourself, Aladdin, The Jungle Book, and The Lion King being on the Switch, and that game was from the NES back in the 1980s, and not only that, there were also games on the SNES, and just so on. And the ride never stops there. We've got ourselves Tsum Tsum's Festival for the Nintendo Switch. Heck, even having their very own Nintendo Switch version that has Tsum Tsum related stuff. There was also Disney Magical World 2 Enchanted Edition, which is like a port of the 3DS game. And yeah, and I find it funny that this was announced back in in the September Nintendo Direct, a few weeks before the reveal of Sora, and the fact that there was a magical floating letter sort of kind of hinted on Sora being in Smash. I don't know, it just seems like a weird coincidence. But yeah, this is another good example of having Disney working together with Nintendo. And they are not, but Nintendo is not the only gaming developers they've actually collaborated. They collaborated with Epic Games to put in Star Wars and Marvel characters in Fortnite. And yes, I know, Fortnite to me, in my opinion, Fortnite is a bit of a boring game and sort of a bit of a really overrated game, in my opinion. But you can definitely see that Nintendo wasn't the only people that Disney was working with. And then earlier this year, they also collaborated with the Sea of Thieves, with having Pirates of the Caribbean DLC in it, which is definitely a big thing to see back at E3. And not only that, heck, Bowser, Street Fighter, Sonic the Hedgehog, Dr. Eggman, even Pac-Man himself was in the Wreck-It Ralph movie. And Wreck-It Ralph was even a playable character in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform. Saying that Disney is very stingy with what they have and they would not allow any sort of their characters being in games is a bit of a long stretch when you don't really do your research properly. And then another thing is that many, like I said in the beginning, some were really salty about Sora being the final character in L, and many would say it should have been Master Chief, it should have been Waluigi, it should have been Crash, should have been Sly Cooper, it should have been anyone than Sora. And yes, I can understand that and all, but I have to say this, it didn't matter who the character was for the sixth character. In one of Sakurai's Famitsu columns, it was confirmed that Sora was added as an additional character for the second Fighters Pass, and the second Fighters Pass was originally going to have 5 fighters, just like the first one. And this was by a chance where Sakurai met a Disney executive at a certain awards game show back in 2019. I think it was the Tokyo Game Shows and all, and the fact that they met and collaborated all together, especially Sakurai reading carefully about the guidelines, they decided to add Sora after Disney stated yes on his inclusion. So to me, it didn't matter who the character was, because when it comes to the final character slot, it was never going to be Crash or Waluigi, Master Chief, or any sort of characters. Heck, even the deconfirmed ones like Gino and Dante and all. It was always going to be Sora since he was just going to be an extra slot, which I find incredibly unbelievable that they decided to add him at the last minute before announcing a second Fighters Pass. Also, saying that many think that this character was more of a wasted slot is a bit of an unbelievable one, because I want to let you know, you got like over 90 characters, like almost 90 characters in this entire roster. So to say that Sora felt like a waste out of all of the different characters you see in the roster, I can't even tell if you're like, I can't even tell if that's supposed to be a way of saying that I really just don't like this character because despite having 90 characters, it's not the character I wanted. Look, I get it. I get it. Like, the characters are not in Smash Bros. As playable fighters, but there's always a next time for sure. Yes, we don't know when the next Smash game will be coming out. We don't even know if Sakurai is ever going to be developing another Smash game, as Sakurai once talked about that making Smash Bros. Without him would definitely lose the charm of it, which I can definitely agree, but we don't even know if Sakurai can truly make another Smash game. We just want him to take a break at this point. But now with Sora being in Smash Bros. And the conclusion of Ultimate, we can definitely say that this inclusion of him was definitely a big achievement to not just the Smash fans, but Sakurai and Nintendo. Since Disney nowadays, yes, I mean, all the points I've stated with, them collaborating, yes, nowadays they can be a bit overprotective with their IPs, but that doesn't mean they aren't that overprotective when it comes to gaming and different medias and all. So, yeah, this is really one of the reasons. Yeah, those are all the reasons I can think of for Sora and why exactly his character was by far the best in my opinion, and especially why it was important to really have him in Smash Bros. And when you think of Kingdom Hearts, you mostly think of a game that is a crossover. And what is Smash Bros? A crossover game. And what is Sora? A crossover character that goes to different worlds and brings them together, even unlocking their hearts and freeing them from the darkness. That's all I can really say about it. So, yeah, Sora in Smash Bros. It's still been a few months since this character was included. It's still unbelievable that it is, and I just want to thank Sakurai once again for all of his efforts and everything else. So, with that, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Sora's inclusion in Ultimate. What do you all think of him after a few months of this character's inclusion? Do you guys think he's still the best? Do you guys think he's okay? Or are you still a little salty that his character is in Smash Bros. At all? I just want to know all your opinions down below, and so with that, leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more videos, follow on my Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time, and remember this, once a legend, always a legend. Like a Hellcat.